Hello everyone, I am Rochelle Ibanez Santiago.
And I am Ivan Falcas Santos.
And in this video, we are going to discuss about writing reference and other parts of the paper,
which includes the appendices and glossary.
Now we are going to discuss reference materials, or what we call the back matter or end matter. First, we have the reference, bibliography, list of works cited. So why do we call it a back matter or end matter? So in our research paper, the back matter or end matter is the final section where you provide a list of all the sources you use to support your work. This section also helps readers find the original materials you reference and verifies the information in your paper. Depending on the citation style, this list has different names and formats, which we have the number one, Chicago style, or what you call notes bibliography format. The list is labeled as bibliography, and this commonly used in history and some humanities fields. These styles typically uses footnotes or endnotes within the text, and then all sources are compiled in the bibliography. Second, we have the MLA style or parenthetical documentation format. The list is titled Works Cited, and MLA uses in-text citations usually in parentheses and includes only the sources directly cited in the paper. In addition, MLA style is a referencing method developed by the Modern Language Association or MLA for crediting sources used in writing papers. It's commonly used in the humanities and liberal arts, especially for writing on literature and language. And thirdly, we have the APA style. The list is labeled references, and it is widely used in social sciences, psychology, and education. This list includes only the sources cited in your paper with in-text citations matching each entry. We have to keep in mind that using the correct heading and style makes it easy for readers to understand which format you are using and quickly locate the sources if needed. So when preparing a reference list, there are some basic rules to follow to make sure it's clear, professional, and easy for readers to use. First, we have list references alphabetically by author. When there are multiple works by the same author, list references by date, the most recent last. So, with this, you have to arrange your references alphabetically by the author's last name. And if an author has more than one works listed, then arrange these works by date from oldest to most recent. Second, we have single spacing is used for references but double space between references. In here, use single spacing within each reference. Leave double spaces between different references to make them easier to read. And thirdly, we have titles of works. So all titles require sentence caps. All words lowercase except for the first word, after a colon, and proper nouns. So you have to use sentence caps, meaning only the first word or any word after a colon and proper nouns, which names, places, and etc. should start with a capital letter. And you also have to italicize titles of books, reports, theses, dissertations, and similar long works. And fourthly, character spacings, space one after all punctuation. You have spacing after punctuation and add one space after all punctuation marks like periods or commas to make the references look neat. And lastly, date, use the month, day, year format for full dates. So you have to write full dates in the month, day, year format. Example, January 5, 2003. So Using these rules keeps your references clear and consistent, making it easy for anyone to find more information about your sources.
So this image provides examples of how to format different types of sources in an APA-style reference list. Each type of source has a specific format that includes details like the author, publication year, title, and publisher or URL. And for the information of everyone, APA stands for American Psychological Association, an organization that created a set of style rules for academic writing. APA style is a documentation style for sources used in research papers and is often used in social sciences such as psychology, anthropology, and sociology. So first we have books. The format here is author's last name, initials, year, title of the book, place of publication, and the publisher. So for instance, Nichols G, year 2002, Developing Teaching and Learning in Higher Education. London Routledge Falmer. Booth V.C. Columb G. and Williams J.M. 1995. The Craft of Research, Chicago, University of Chicago Press. So second, we have a chapter in a book. So the format here is author's last name, initials, and year, title of the chapter, and editor's initials, last names, eds, title of the book, edition, volume, pages, place of publication, and the publisher. Example, Stephen W. G. 1985, Intergroup Relations. In Lindsay and E. Aronzo, eds. The Handbook of Social Psychology, 3rd edition, volume 2, page 599 to 658. New York, Random House. Third, we have the reports software thesis. So software, here the example format is author's name, year, title or type of software available from URL. For instance, the Dr. Abel Scribe PhD 2006, Ascribe APA Reference Manager version 6.0. Computer, it is a computer software. Available from Doc's website http://www.docstyles.com. So in thesis, we have example format, author's last name, initials, year, title of thesis, type of thesis, university, location. Example is Lacerna J. 2015, Parental Involvement and Academic Performance, undergraduate thesis. Department of Psychology, University of Makati, Makati City, Philippines. Fourthly, we have web pages. So in here, the format is author's last name, initials, year, title of web page, retrieved date from URL. Example is Dewey RA, which is the initial, year 2002, Psych Web, and the retrieve is January 25, 2003 from http://www.psywww.com. So in Purdue University Online Writing Lab 2003, using American Psychological Association or APA format updated to 5th edition. Retrieved February 18, 2003 from http://english.purdue.edu handouts/print/research/APA HTML period. So each source type has specific rules for structuring information. APA format inconsistent in style with the author's last name first, followed by the year in parentheses, close and open parentheses, and italics for book or thesis titles. These standardizations makes sources easy to read and locate for further references. So now let's proceed to the other part of the paper, which includes appendices and glossary. In research paper or report, appendices and a glossary are optional sections that provide additional helpful information without interrupting the main content. Appendices contain materials that supplement the text of the study but should not be appropriately included in the text. Slate 2003. It contains original data, computer, printouts, legal documents, illustrative materials, transcriptions, supporting documentary mathematical formula, and tabulations. Appendices use single letter of the alphabet in sequence on the top of the page as Appendix A, Appendix B, and so forth. In appendices, the purpose of appendices is to include extra materials that support your study but are too detailed or extensive to include in the main text. Example here is the raw data or computer printouts, legal documents or important forms, charts, graphs, illustration or transcriptions, mathematical formulas or detailed tables. Second, we have the formatting. Each appendix is labeled with a single letter, starting with Appendix A and then Appendix B and so on. This label goes at the top of the page for each appendix. Example, if we have a survey in questionnaire used in our research, it could be included as Appendix A. Which allows readers to see exactly what questions were asked without placing the entire survey in the main body of our report.
So another part of the paper is the glossary, which means this is a list of terms and abbreviations that occur frequently, and in some institutions this is integrated in the definition of terms. So the purpose of this glossary is to define important terms or abbreviations that are used frequently in your report, especially if they might be unfamiliar to your readers. And some institutions prefer the glossary to be part of the definition of terms section instead of a separate section. Example, if your study frequently mentions PCR or polymerase chain reaction, you could add it to the glossary to clarify its meaning for readers who may not be familiar with the term. So these other parts or the appendices and the glossary makes your study clearer. I mean, if you include this other part, which is the appendices and the glossary, this can make your study clearer and more accessible for your readers by organizing supporting information separately from the main text. So going back to reference citation, you have to keep in mind that when you start to do your research, it is important to choose a format for citing your sources. And different schools or fields of study may have their own rules, but most now use the APA format. And your teacher or advisor might also suggest a specific style. The sources you cite can come from books, articles, websites, and many other places. You should follow the rules of the citation format you have chosen to create a proper entry for each source. There are two basic types of citation formats for documenting materials obtained from other sources, and these two are the notes bibliography format and the parenthetical reference list format.
So first we have notes bibliography format. It is a way to give credit to sources you use in your research, either through footnotes, which at the bottom of the page, or endnotes at the end of your paper. So when we use this format, we place a small number called a superscript right after a sentence that quotes or refers to a source. For instance, he stressed that the concept of organizational culture is important because the components of culture are linked to organizational performance. Then, at the bottom of the page or the footnote or in the list of endnotes, you provide detailed information about the source like the author's name, book title, publisher, and the page number. For instance, Wendell L. French, Human Resources Management, Boston, Houghton, Mifflin Company 2003, page 367. So if we use more than one citation on the same page, we continue numbering them in order. So these notes can be added either as footnotes or endnotes depending on our preference or style guide our following. At the end of the paper, all our citations will be listed together as endnotes.
So, another citation format, we have the parenthetical reference list format. In APA style, a parenthetical citation is used to give credit to an author directly within the text with details included in parentheses. This type of citation is used both in the body of the text and in the references list at the end of the paper. So how it works? So after using information from a source, you add the author's last name and the year of publication and the page number if applicable in parentheses. Example, the concept of organizational culture is important because it links to performance. Open French, 2003, page 367 and close parentheses. In the reference list, at the end of your paper or at the reference list, it should be listed all sources under the heading or references in alphabetical order. Each entry provides complete information so readers can locate the original source. Another information is APA or parenthetical citations are similar for both print and electronic sources. Be sure to include the author's last name, date, and relevant page number if available in each citations. Also, place the citations at the end of the sentence before the period. This style of citation makes it easy for readers to see where information came from while keeping the text clean and organized.
So in APA style, it's essential to know how to place and format citations correctly to give credit to authors and make your writing clear. So here's an easy breakdown of different ways to place citations along with examples to guide you. First, we have citing the author and date in parentheses. You can place both the author's last name and the publication date within parentheses at the appropriate spot in the sentence. This method is often used when you're discussing the author's ideas or findings without directly mentioning their name in the sentence. This type of citation is placed at the end of a sentence or right after the information from that source. Example, the family factors could support individuals in their attempt to be part of their environment. As Epstein 2004 state, and these factors can be close family ties, supportive parents, and siblings. Here, in this example, both the author's name, Epstein, and the publication year 2004 are given in parentheses, making it clear where the information came from. Second is citing only the date in parentheses. Another option is to mention the author's name in the sentence and place only publication date in parentheses. This is useful when you want to emphasize the author or their work directly within the sentence. This approach can integrate the source naturally into the sentence. For instance, according to Epstein 2004, there are factors that could support individuals in their attempt to be part of their environment, such as close family ties, supportives, and siblings. So, in this example, we mention Epstein as the name directly in the sentence and include only the year in parentheses. These methods makes the author more prominent in the text, which can be helpful if you are focusing on that specific author's ideas or research. Thirdly, we have integrating both author and date in the sentence. In this case, you can include, or in some cases, you can include both the author's name and the publication date as part of the sentence. This style is common when summarizing the main idea or finding the author's work. It's a seamless way to introduce the source within the sentence itself. For instance, in 2004, Epstein stated that there are factors that could support individuals in their attempt to be part of their environment, including close family ties, supportive parents, and siblings. Here, in 2004, Epstein stated, fully integrates both the authors and the date within the sentence, making the citation feel like a natural part of the sentence flow. This approach is often used when introducing key ideas or findings from a specific study. So now, these are the summary of when to use each style. First, author and date in parentheses. It is only used when you want to cite information without mentioning the author directly in the sentence. Second is only the date in parentheses. It is used when you want to highlight the author's name within the sentence. Thirdly, we have author and date in the sentence. Used when integrating the source completely in the sentence to make it read more naturally. So, understanding these variations help us place citations effectively and keeps us writing clear and well structured, which is essential in academic writing. Proper citation also demonstrates respect for the original authors and allows readers to track down the sources you use if they wish to learn more.
So, this slides explains why citations are important in research and some ethical considerations for using them correctly. So, why do we need to do citations? It is because citations help researchers show where their information comes from, making sure that facts are accurate and the source is reliable. And of course, researchers have many sources to choose from, like books, articles, published or unpublished, and online materials. Second also, ethics of documentation. So according to Slade 2003, using citations either as notes or in parentheses and a list of sources like a bibliography or works cited helps give credit to the original authors of ideas or information. This process shows readers exactly where ideas, facts, or language were taken from, giving proper credit to others. And proper citation can also help support or verify this research. It shows that the researcher's work is backed by credible sources or allow them to compare and contrast information from different sources. In addition, citations can come from sources the researchers directly read or primary data, or from other sources that reference the information or the secondary data. In short, citations are a way to respect original authors, show where information came from, and make the research more trustworthy.